Coming right out to you with a big update that we have out there on live radar. That is a new and redrawn severe thunderstorm warning for the complex of thunderstorms that we've really been keeping eyes on up towards North Missouri. So we've seen a lot of these dump a lot of heavy rainfall so far already. I'll get you a look at rainfall totals, but what you need to know right now is we have a severe thunderstorm warning. This is the newest one until 10:15 for Grundy, Lynn, and Sullivan County. So again, that is far northern Missouri where we are tracking these thunderstorms right now. There's a bit of a reference point for you there. Two different severe thunderstorm warnings, one of which was just redrawn and shifted just southward. So we're watching this very closely. Let me walk you through both of those yellow boxes that we have there on the map, which indicate those severe thunderstorm warnings, where the heart of that storm is now pushing over in towards Greencastle, down towards Browning. That's where it's approaching currently as we speak. So let's put a pause on this radar, poke in and look at those severe thunderstorm warnings specifically. So they're right next to each other. One was a continuation of previous severe thunderstorm warnings, the other a newer one, that one that encapsulates that northern one. I'll just say severe thunderstorm warning until 10:15. That's when both of these expire, but there's some overlap in what counties they're including. So that's Grundy, Mercer, Putnam, and Sullivan counties for the northern warning, and then the one just to the south of that holding that southernmost, also stronger area of the storm that has really pulsed up here in the past few minutes for Grundy, Lynn, and Sullivan. So we're going to continue to watch this storm motion as it moves southeast at 40 miles per hour. So it started moving faster. It's picked up the pace a bit. Previously, up in Iowa, it was moving a lot slower, just dropping a lot of heavy rainfall. Now it's moving more quickly, so that's good. That decreases our flooding threat, but still something that we are going to watch very closely. The risks and hazards inside of these storms and why there is severe thunderstorm warned is 60-mile-per-hour winds. That's damaging wind gusts that can take down tree limbs, that can cause power outages, things of that nature. But also, we've had some reports of about dime-size hail falling previously with this storm. So it's warned primarily for those winds, but still could hold some larger hail up to a quarter size. Put that back in motion for you so you can see that southeastward track on it. Now, while this is far away from downtown and Kansas City proper, we're still watching this closely because of how messy and jagged the system is and how it tracked slightly farther to the west than models were saying it would. So here's a wider view at that so you can orient yourself to where that severe thunderstorm warning is. That's just north Chillicothe and to the east of I-35. Both of those severe thunderstorm warnings. Still watching that for heavy rainfall too and lightning. This is a very electric storm, very loud up there if you are up there watching. Right now, I'm sure you can hear all the thunder and the extremely heavy rainfall falling with it. Here's radar estimated rain totals from this storm previously. We're having the radar say it could have already spit out 2 to 3 inches of rain in isolated spots. Otherwise, in the areas that have seen the edges of this storm, just under an inch of rain. So something that we were watching closely because of how much moisture it's carrying, how much rain it's able to put down. That's all that thunderstorm complex up towards northern Missouri and those severe thunderstorm warnings with that. In terms of what we can expect through the rest of your Thursday morning, well, that's decreasing rain chances. We'll hold it at a 30 till about 11 a.m., then bring it down to 20%. That's for noon and your lunch hour. After that, really dry things up, bring back the sunshine. Here's a look at future track radar as we check in on where this storm is headed. Again, it's currently moving to the southeast, and this model put that complex, that thunderstorm complex as a whole, slightly farther to the east than what is currently happening and how that storm has actually turned out to work and live. So keep in mind, just shift this big thunderstorm you see here on the map farther farther to the west there. So we can see that development and how it really just wanes and decreases through the next several hours. That's why we're able to bring that rain chance down to a 20%. Now, it's possible that we find some residual rain and just some scattered light showers elsewhere outside of just that complex, as the disturbance in the atmosphere that's creating this thunderstorm still can spark up some showers elsewhere, but that's the main activity that we are keeping an eye on, is what's happening right now through the rest of your Thursday morning, and especially into the afternoon. We're going to calm that down and dry things out for us. Though I mentioned areas such as Marshall along I-70 can still see some rain today, but vast majority of us are going to stay dry, are going to bring in that sunshine throughout the rest of your Thursday. So Thursday at a glance, then I'll touch back briefly on live radar for you so we can rehash those severe thunderstorm warnings. Once we clear this morning's rain chance, it's going to be hot and very humid out there. So we're not able to transition all of our current humidity in the air into that rain chance. For the rest of us, it's just going to sit in the atmosphere and crank up those feels like temperatures in your Thursday afternoon. Going to be very hot and humid out there today, increasing those temperatures through the rest of your work week and especially into the weekend. Friday, potentially the hottest day that we have seen this week and this month. I think we do it, and not just how the thermometers are reading, but also what that air actually feels like when we factor in that humidity. That puts heat index values well into the triple digits. We're going to have to watch very closely to see if heat advisories or heat warnings do get issued out ahead of this. National Weather Service said that they'll get more information on that to us this afternoon, so we'll keep you posted on that, of course, here with the latest for you. But here's an early and forecasted look at what that air could feel like on your Friday evening. So this says 6 p.m. on Friday, when a lot of us are trying to get out and about after work. I know a lot of kids go back to school in the Shawnee Mission School District on Monday, so this last summer weekend is sure going to feel like summer. Very hot out there, something that we are going to be watching very closely for you. And we'll be back here shortly with a breaking news press conference with Janae.
Alrighty, welcome back into the live desk. Janae Hancock here with Taylor Johnson. We now have a press conference as the DOJ seeks a hate crime charge against the man accused of killing a Kansas woman and her boyfriend at a Jewish museum in Washington, D.C.
25, Elias Rodriguez traveled from Chicago, Illinois to Washington, D.C. and brought with him a 9mm semi-automatic weapon. While on the plane, he traveled across multiple state lines and drafted a manifesto called an explication on his iPhone. His explication made clear his purpose in committing these crimes that I'm about to read to you was to demonstrate his hatred for the people of Israel. The next day, on the afternoon of May 21, he purchased a ticket to attend a young diplomat's reception sponsored by the American Jewish Committee at the Capitol Jewish Museum, located just 2 blocks from here on 3rd Street in Northwest D.C. Now, the American Jewish Committee, of course, supports Israel and its right to exist in peace and security. That very same night, he watched as people left the reception. When he saw the 4 victims in this case, all of whom were from the Israeli embassy, he crossed the street, he opened fire, killing first Yaron Lashinsky, then killing Sarah Milgram, and when firing these fatal shots, he yelled, "Free Palestine." After he killed Yaron and Sarah, he entered the Capitol Jewish Museum, pulled out a red keffiyeh, and yelled, "I did it for Palestine," after which he was arrested. Now, a D.C. grand jury has charged in this indictment 2 hate crimes, alleging that he murdered Yaron Levchinsky and Sarah Milgram because of his bias against the people of Israel. He demonstrated this hatred through his words, "death to Israel," and his violent actions against Yaron and Sarah and their co-workers from the Israeli embassy. He also posted one of his postings on social media, "Please, please, please, God, please, vaporize every Israeli." And now to the charges. A grand jury in the District of Columbia has indicted Elias Rodriguez in a 9-count indictment with the following crimes. Count 1, murder of a foreign official under 18 U.S.C. 1116 for the murder of 30-year-old Yaron Levchinsky, a foreign official employed by the government of Israel. Counts 2 and 3 are hate crimes resulting in death under 18 U.S.C. 249, where the defendant crossed state lines, willfully caused bodily injury to Yaron Levchinsky and Sarah Milgram because of actual as well as perceived national origin, which resulted in both of their deaths. Counts 4 and 5, the discharge of a firearm during a crime of violence causing the death of a person through the use of a firearm. The defendant knowingly used, carried, and discharged a firearm during and in relation to a crime of violence, and with malice aforethought, he did unlawfully kill Yaron and Sarah with a firearm. Counts 6 and 7, first-degree murder while armed. Under the defendant, Rodriguez, with deliberate and premeditated malice, killed Yaron and Sarah by shooting each with a firearm, thereby causing injuries from which each died. Counts 8 and 9, assault with intent to kill while armed with a firearm. He assaulted CS and AT, those are initials, with intent to kill a person. Attached to this indictment are further findings of the grand jury. It's designated as a notice of special findings under 18 U.S.C. 3591 and 92. This begins the statutory process and whether to seek the death penalty. This is a weighty decision. It takes time. There will be a rigorous process, after which the capital case section in the Attorney General's office will advise the Attorney General, and the Attorney General herself will make a decision regarding whether or not this office will seek death against Elias Rodriguez. In that regard, I think it's important to identify a specific special finding, and I direct your attention to, I believe it's paragraph 28. Rodriguez committed an offense against Sarah Milgram in an especially heinous and cruel and depraved manner, in that it involved serious physical abuse to Sarah Milgram, who was particularly vulnerable due to infirmity. Now, let me close by saying that prior to speaking to you today, I spoke with the parents of Yaron Levchinsky as well as Sarah Milgram. The parents of Yaron are in Israel. Sarah's parents are in the United States. These are people who are broken because of one man's actions. These are people who should have been in-laws, but because of one man's action, they will never be able to celebrate a marriage that was intended or the grandchildren that would have resulted. The families want to thank the prosecutors in my office. They want to thank the FBI, the MPD, and all of the people in the Attorney General's office who have worked on this case, and they wanted me to send that message. And now I want to make something perfectly clear. Violence against anyone in this district will not be tolerated, especially violence which has hate at its core and is the genesis of violence. The president put me here to do a job, to clean up the district, to make sure that crime doesn't overshadow this phenomenal city, our nation's capital. And I have throughout my career fought anti-Semitism for 32 years as a prosecutor and a judge. I do so. I fight hate crimes with a vengeance. So don't even think about targeting people in this district because of who they are or because of where they're from. I promise you, justice will be swift and it will be certain. And I will work furiously and diligently with my phenomenal staff to make sure that we prosecute every one of these cases. This is the nation's capital. This is where we celebrate unity. Hate has no place, but justice will rule. And now I want to call upon Harmeet Dillon to my right. She is the Assistant Attorney General for Civil Rights. You may know her, and I want to thank her and her division for helping us on this. Harmeet?
Thank you, Judge Janae, for your remarks and for your diligent work of your office on this matter. It is my weighty responsibility under federal law to certify any hate crime charges at the federal level in the United States, and we did that in this case with alacrity. The Civil Rights Division remains unwavering in the same commitment that you just heard from Judge Janine. Namely, there will be a zero-tolerance policy in this district and in these United States for any hate-motivated violence, including in this case on the basis of actual and or perceived national origin. The community in question has been reeling from a stream of violence that has been occurring in these United States for almost 2 years now. To those who seek to inflict further pain and suffering on Israeli communities, we will use every legal tool at our disposal to hold them accountable for these actions and deter future actions. The Civil Rights Division is committed to ensuring that every community in these United States is safe from violence, intimidation, and discrimination, as in this case. No one in America should fear for their life because of their faith, religion, ethnicity, or national origin. This indictment reflects our ongoing commitment to hold these criminals accountable, and we will continue to relentlessly pursue justice for Yaron and Sarah, their families, and their communities. I hope this beginning of this process brings some comfort to the many people in this community who have approached the Department of Justice and expressed their deep concern for their safety. I think no one can claim that this is not a serious problem here in our district right now, and it is embarrassing as an American to see that. Next, I'm going to introduce FBI District of Columbia Field Office Criminal Division Special Agent in Charge, Reed Davis.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Judge Puro. Thank you, AG Dillon. Good morning. My name is Reed Davis. I'm the Special Agent in Charge for the Washington Field Office Criminal Division. Today's announcement is a major step forward in our partners in the FBI's efforts to seek justice for the victims and the families of the horrific act at the Capitol Jewish Museum on May 21st. Since that tragic night, our FBI and DOJ victim specialists have forged relationships with the surviving victims and the families of the young couple who were ruthlessly murdered. They have maintained close contact and kept them apprised of significant investigative milestones in the case, and these victim specialists will remain in contact with the families until justice is served. FBI investigation to date indicates that the subject acted alone with the intent to commit a violent act in the District of Columbia. Based on his writings and communications, we believe he was a lone wolf actor, motivated by anti-Zionist and pro-Palestine ideology, with the goal of conducting a mass shooting to call attention to his political agenda. We wouldn't be at this stage without the significant support of our partners on the Washington Field Office Joint Terrorism Task Force, including the Metropolitan Police Department, the Diplomatic Security Service, the U.S. Capitol Police, and many others who have left no stone unturned in this investigation. The FBI field offices across the country also provided vital support, especially our Chicago field office, which conducted numerous interviews. In addition, we are extremely grateful to the members of the D.C. community who shared video footage of the subject's movements. We continue to seek information from the public relevant to this case and others as we see the spread of ideology-motivated violence and mass casualty events across the nation. Taking violent action in support of one's political or personal beliefs is abhorrent, it's unacceptable, and the FBI will rigorously investigate and aggressively pursue those who choose to do so. Our work is not done. This indictment is the next step towards justice, and we'll continue to support the prosecution of the subject through our investigation. And now more than ever, we need the public to be vigilant and report to law enforcement any concerns they may have of an individual who may be considering violent actions. Thank you, and now I'd like to turn it over to MPD Assistant Chief Ramey Kyle.
Good morning. I'm Assistant Chief Ramey Kyle of the Investigative Services Bureau at the Metropolitan Police Department. Since our officers apprehended Elias Rodriguez and recovered the murder weapon moments after the shooting, our homicide detectives have tirelessly pursued justice. MPD has a solemn obligation of investigating every homicide occurring in the District of Columbia, a duty we do not take lightly. Our detectives work closely with our partners at the FBI Washington Field Office. As this case progressed and as the investigation traveled outside of our city and outside of our jurisdiction. The charges unveiled here this morning underscore our collective commitment to ensuring Rodriguez faces the maximum punishment possible. Calling this a shooting alone doesn't begin to describe the vicious and hateful attack. Rodriguez traveled halfway across the country, came to our city with the intent to murder people simply because of who they are, what they believed, and where they came from. Hate has no place in our community. We continue to stand shoulder to shoulder with all those impacted by the loss of Yaron Lashinsky and Sarah Milgram. MPD strongly supports the religious community here in Washington, D.C. We have maintained a heightened presence at religious institutions, and we are in regular contact with leaders of all faiths and work to safeguard our houses of worship. As always, we remind our community to remain vigilant and immediately report any suspicious activity. I want to commend the dozens of MPD officers and fellow first responders that rushed to the Capitol Jewish Museum that night. These brave men and women, they did not know the nature of the threat they were running toward and acted swiftly to take this suspect into custody. I want to thank our partners here at the United States Attorney's Office and the FBI Washington Field Office for their commitment to pursuing justice. Every agency involved in this investigation has worked together seamlessly from the very beginning. And lastly, I want to express our gratitude to our local community for providing tips and video that helped our detectives with this case. I also want to thank our community for supporting our Jewish community in the face of this awful tragedy. Thank you, and I'll now turn it back to Judge Pirro.
Thank you. Okay. Any questions?
Can you clarify as far as the death penalty is concerned? I'm unclear. Are you recommending to the Attorney General that the DOJ go ahead with this death penalty designation? Or is this something that you're saying flat out that you're seeking the death penalty?
Okay. Thank you for the question. And what the special findings attached to the indictment, and if you get a copy of the indictment, you'll find it, is an indication that there is a process that we are considering right now. And the Department of Justice has a very rigorous internal process for determining and reviewing cases to determine whether the death penalty is appropriate. The capital case section is responsible for conducting the review. The review includes an examination of all the evidence and of the charges. The defendant is allowed to submit information for consideration by the capital case section as well, which is one of the reasons that we attach these special findings. Once this review is completed, it is then that the Attorney General will determine whether or not to authorize my office to seek death. So the simple question, or the simple answer to your important question is, we are starting the process. We've made no decision yet. Yes, sir.
Judge Pirro, go ahead, sir.
There's been reporting, in addition, after an attack earlier this week on a Trump administration DOJ official, that the Trump administration was making plans to increase federal law enforcement throughout the city. Can you confirm if that's accurate and what your office is aware of?
You know, my understanding is that both the Trump administration as well as the Metropolitan Police Department are looking to increase law enforcement efforts because of the violence we're seeing across this country, across this city. I'm not sure specifically what you're referring to, but we just have too much crime.
I just want to ask you.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
There's a new FBI report that says that anti-Semitic crimes have gone up 70%. This is the highest number against any religious group. Given your announcement today, do you envision any enhanced prosecution efforts, deterrence efforts? Give us some context about that.
Look, I think your question is an important one, and it makes it clear that we have a problem with anti-Semitism in this country, and the statistics bear that out. And I think now more than ever, we are seeing increased numbers. So what does that mean? What it means, if you can get from, my tone, we're going to be very aggressive. You heard from the FBI, the MPD. We're going to look for these cases. We're going to prosecute these cases to the full force of the law. It's a problem, and we're not going to tolerate it. Anti-Semitism has historically been one of the biggest scabs in the world that keeps getting picked on and picked at. So from my perspective, I will go forward with every case with vengeance.
Judge Beer, do you support a federal takeover of Washington, D.C., as the president has suggested?
Yeah, that is a decision for the president. And I think that what the president was saying is that we're seeing far too much crime being committed by young people, 14, 15, 16, 17 years old, that I can't get my hands on. I mean, I don't know if you've seen some of the pictures, but, young people are coddled, and they don't need to be coddled anymore. They need to be held accountable. They shouldn't be going to arts and crafts in family court. They need to understand that enough is enough, and that the D.C. Council has to repeal some of these absurd ordinances and laws that they've had passed that do nothing to protect the people of this city and of this district. And I will reference a case that I wrote an op-ed piece on that I've been talking about for weeks. A young person gets on a bus with an illegal gun. There is a family on the bus. He makes a decision to shoot someone in the chest. To me, that's intent to kill. But for the grace of God, that individual did not die. Now, he's got a gun. It's illegal. He used the gun. Guess what the sentence was? I got a conviction. The sentence was probation. We can't have that. And by the way, he wasn't a kid. He was 19. These are the rules of the D.C. Council. They've got to be changed. We've got to have the ability to let young people know that they're going to be accountable. And if you look at some of these pictures of these kids being beaten by crews and bloodied up, and you want to tell me that, it's only a kid who did it, no. Take a look at the bloodied up face and body, and you'll know that it's more than little kids doing this kind of thing.
Are you trying to get your office to take over what Brian Schwab is doing? Do you want to take over juvenile justice here in the city?
I'm not trying to do anything vis-a-vis Brian Schwab. All I want to do is clean up D.C. That's why the president put me here. And youth crime is on the rise. In the last 4 years, we've had 150,000 cases of youth violence. Okay, 4 years ago. Now it's close to 500,000 cases of youth violence. We've got D.C. as one of the highest murder rates in the country. So we can talk about crime going down, but going down from where? So, this is something that is a whole other issue. Today is about this indictment and making sure that if you intend to commit a crime of anti-Semitism or hate, we're coming for you.
You spoke to Yaron and Sarah's parents. Have they taken a position on whether they want the Justice Department to seek the death penalty? And separately, Steve Jensen was supposed to be up there alongside you announcing this today, but he's been fired. Do you have any explanation why?
Okay, I'm going to talk about Sarah and Yaron's parents. I spoke to them, and I told them that the process is beginning, that they will have an opportunity and a right to put their input into what decision is ultimately made. Okay? And I'm not going to talk about politics today. I'm talking about crime. I'm talking about hate crimes. And that's the extent of it. Okay.
Reporter was asking the question. There's word that there are going to be more federal law enforcement, including perhaps National Guard, on the streets of D.C. today and tomorrow as a result of some of this recent violence. What is your reaction, or could Assistant Chief Kyle speak to that?
I know that there is an effort to increase law enforcement based upon what we've seen. But I also know that today is about the Leszczynskis and Sarah and two other victims whose lives are forever changed because of one individual's decision to come to this city and create a ripple effect that has rippled throughout the world. And that's enough on the other stuff. Okay?
Could we ask Assistant Chief Kyle for his reaction to that? More federal law enforcement. Could you come to the microphone?
I'd rather we talk about Leszczynski. You could call him later. I'm done.
A follow-up on the cases. You mentioned specifically Rodriguez's actions towards Sarah being the reason why you would. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that? I know you mentioned it during your.
No, I can't. That will come out at trial. But I refer you to that part of the special findings. It's horrific. Thank you all very much. Okay.
All right, we just heard from the Department of Justice. That was U.S. Attorney Janae Pirro in reference to the DOJ seeking federal hate crime charges against Elias Rodriguez, who is accused of shooting and killing Sarah Milgram and her boyfriend, Yaron Leszczynski. So we are going to take a break, and when we come back, we will have Bill Hurlbrink's Weekend Picks.
All right, welcome back, everybody. It's Bill Hurlbrink along with Taylor Johnson
Oh,
for
yeah.
Bill's Weekend Picks. I got to say, shout out to Taylor Johnson for joining me on this edition of Bill's Weekend Picks. Taylor, you've been back in Kansas City now for a while.
Yeah.
Are your weekends full of going out, exploring the city more? Are you more of like, I want to stay in, I'm going to binge this Netflix show or something? What do you do with your weekends?
So here's the thing. And that's a great question. So I would say like Friday night, Saturday is usually when I'm trying to, get out and explore. And then on Sunday, after church, I might brunch and then spend the rest of the day chilling because, we have to be back
Gotta be back
very
here
early on Monday.
That is
but
exactly
it's been so much going on. I will say I've been back now almost 3 months and I have not had a dull weekend yet.
Excellent. Well, we have got a long line of things for you to try here this weekend if you like. Again, this is Bill's Weekend Picks. We do it every single Thursday about 10:30 here on KCTV5+. I want to thank you for joining us today. Let's go ahead and get started with the first thing on taps. It's for tonight, actually. And let's get that over here because I want to show you this. Taylor, have you been to the Liberty Memorial since they reopened the tower?
No, I haven't. And I've only been for a work assignment, so I've never been for fun.
It is absolutely beautiful out there. And tonight they are having the tower after hours. So you can go up and buy a ticket to the top of the tower. This is the elevator that you get on. It's about 219 feet rising above the museum itself right there. 217 feet, excuse me. There's a few steps you have to take to get to the very top of it, but it offers just stunning views of around the entire city. You can look north towards downtown. There's some iconic pictures that people take from up there and post online all the time. You can look south towards the plaza. You can see our tower from it as well. And it's only on Thursday nights here through October. You pay about $8 a ticket, and you can go up to the top of the tower and see some really pretty sunset views. And now, sunset today is at 8:32 at night. So if you get up there, about 7:30, 8 o'clock, you can climb up the tower and kind of just sit there and enjoy the sunset view over the city. And I think all the storms and stuff are going to stay away, so hopefully you have an unobstructed view of the sunset tonight.
Yeah, what really caught my eye is a 30-second ride to the top.
Yeah, it goes pretty quick.
Yeah.
But
have you done that before?
I've done that a bunch of times. I remember back here, it's been several decades ago. I took my grandpa there. We went to the whole museum and everything, which, again, the World War I Museum and Memorial it's a crown jewel in Kansas City. If you have not been to that museum, it is well worth the price of admission. It takes several hours to go through and check it out, along with the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum. That's the other crown jewel here in Kansas City. If you haven't been to that yet, you need to go see it. But again, Tower After Hours, that's tonight at Liberty Memorial if you want to do that. Also happening tonight is some concerts taking place over in Overland Park. If you like some live music, we'll go out and maybe hang out with some of the old tunes from like the Count Basie era, maybe Nat King Cole, maybe Louis Armstrong, some Satchmo, because at Thompson Park in Overland Park tonight, Alex Abramovitz and his swinging Kansas City Jazz Band is going to be playing. So again, like Count Basie, Louis Armstrong, they come back to life with this great jazz group. You can get there early for the downtown Overland Park's Party in the Park. They got lots of yard games and a lot of fun things for the entire family to do. And Thompson Park is just south of downtown Overland Park, just west of 80th and Metcalf. I grew up playing a lot of these old jazz standards from back in the day, a lot of Count Basie tunes and everything as well. So I love this kind of stuff where everybody gets together, has a great time, and you hear some of that good old Kansas City swing.
Yeah, and I feel like even today, we went outside earlier just to get some air, and it didn't feel too bad, so I'm sure it's probably going to be like a beautiful evening for a concert in the park.
Yep.
That sounds great.
So get out there after work. You can go to Strang Hall and get yourself some dinner, and then you can go out and enjoy all the stuff there in the park. Now, of course, we talked about this yesterday, but also ongoing this weekend is Frozen over at Starlight. These are a couple of the young actors from Kansas City who play young Anna and young Elsa in the show. Now, this show runs nightly through August the 10th. Tickets are still available. You can swing by kcstarlight.com to get those. I saw some on the side for as low as $15. Of course, they go all the way up to nearly $100 if you want to do that. When you go to the website, make sure you buy your parking there too, so you don't have to worry about that when you come to the show, the night of the show. And again, this is a different show than the movie. It's not exactly the same as the Frozen movie, and there's even some differences from the original Broadway show that came out here a few years ago. So you got to get out there, see those surprises. And again, it is just a fantastic, fun show. And there's a really big, I don't want to spoil it, but there's a cool little reveal, little quick change moment that happens right before intermission as Elsa is singing Let It Go. So again, I know you haven't seen the movie yet.
No,
which we
not
got to
yet.
fix that. We got to get you to see the movie, and so you can sing all the songs with us too.
I need to get to Starlight, period.
Just need to get Starlight, yeah.
Because they had Ain't Too Proud there.
Yes.
But when it was there, I was on vacation, so I didn't get a chance to see it. But Starlight is definitely on my bucket list. And I love, too, that you were able to get that all-access peek at the Frozen show.
Yes. Well, Rachel over at Starlight is she's a K-Stater, and she's a good friend, and we've worked together for several years, so I'm so happy she invited us over to be able to meet our Kansas City connection there as well.
Yeah.
So maybe live theater is not your thing. Maybe you want to get out and flex on some athletes out there where you can, because you know what? PickleCon is in town this weekend, along with a lot of star power. So 400,000 square feet of anything and everything pickleball related. So the website calls it a pickleball paradise. There's tournament play, there's open play, there's pro-ams, clinics, camps, vendors, etc. Anything that you can think of about pickleball will be there this weekend, so you don't want to miss that. There's also going to be a lot of pro athletes that'll be there that maybe excelled in different sports but now play pickleball. So Terrell Owens, T.O. from the NFL is going to be there.
Player.
Matt Beaslers from Sporting Kansas City will be there. Tyler Hansbrough, he's a basketball player, and a lot of other folks are going to be there as well. A spectator pass, if you just want to go look at this, it's $10 a day. If you're 8 and under, I think it's $5 a day. Or 8 to 18, $5 a day. Under 8 are free. Now, if you do want to play, you can do that. There's a 4-day pass that's $70, or you can do $20 a day, and a full breakdown of all the pricing and to purchase those tickets. All you have to do is go to picklecon.com. Now, I know you were gifted a pickleball racket. Is that what or paddle?
One paddle.
So you can play by yourself.
Yes, because I'm a tennis player.
Yeah. Oh.
So pickleball, really trying to get into that. And so when I was moving here, a going away gift that this couple gave me was a pickleball paddle. But I need a second paddle, and I need actual pickle balls so we can make this happen.
All right.
But it's honestly Kansas City's what introduced me to pickleball through Chicken and Pickle when I was here previously. So it's just really amazing to see how pickleball has blown up. I've seen it on the sports channels, like it's Wimbledon or something. It's pretty cool.
It gets competitive. I remember taking my daughter out to play a couple of times. Not only she got competitive, but the people on the courts that we were playing with got pretty competitive too. And they were like,
serious.
"Why did you miss that ball?" I was like, "I don't know, man. I've never played the sport before. I'm trying my best here." So
get it together, Bill.
Yeah, exactly.
We might have to see each other on the court.
We could do that. And that starts today. It runs through Sunday. That's at the Kansas City Convention Center downtown.
Nice.
So if you see a lot of pickleball stuff downtown this weekend, you know what's going on.
All right.
Also happening, if you don't want to work out or go to theater, maybe you want to listen to some live music and eat some food, and we got that covered for you too, because it is the Hot Dog Festival, the Heart of America Hot Dog Festival. It's happening this Saturday at the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum. Now, in addition to all the tasty food, the food trucks and everything, there's live music at this thing. You're not going to believe who's going to be there this year, Taylor. It is music from Silk. We got Eric Benet. He's going to be there.
Come on, 90s.
Rose Royce.
70s.
Legend Rose Royce. If you ever danced to the car wash back in the day, that's that band right there. Also several others. Early ticket dates, they have already passed, so you're going to have to pay full price for the ticket. Entry is $50 a ticket. Kids ticket is $10, and that's for kids 6 to 12 years of age. For more information on this one, go to the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum website. That's NLBM.com. And again, another crown jewel of Kansas City right there in that museum in 18th and Vine.
Yes.
And again, it's kind of exciting to see how that area is growing up as well, with all the new developments that hopefully we'll be seeing coming there here soon. But again, what a great time, and hopefully our weather sticks around with this nice. I know it's going to be hot, but still, even in hot weather, I think it's okay to eat hot dogs and listen to Rose Royce.
I would say so too. And you know what? It's that end of summer that's coming. So what better way to round it out than with some hot dogs? We love hot dogs here. Remember on 4th of July, we had a little hot dog bar. And we love music. So let's put the two together. In history.
And history as well. Exactly right. Okay. Now, every single item that we've talked about so far today costs money, right? Well, we want to give you some free options to think about as well. So this weekend at the Nelson, it's free weekend fun at the Nelson. So this happens on Saturday afternoon. It's all afternoon from 1 to 4. And again, the price is right because it's completely free. All you have to do is show up and you can go create. The whole thing about the theme this weekend is about time telling and how different cultures used to tell time throughout history. So they have an exhibit set up there where you can go find all that out. Is it a watch? Is it a clock? You just got to go check it out to see. In the gallery, they're also going to have different exhibits on how different civilizations approached the concept of time, and there's a ton to learn and see there. So again, great event for the family. And of course, if you get out there early, you can always stop by the art course at the mini golf course. Now that does cost money, but if you want to go to just the free weekend fun, that's of course all free, and it's 1 to 4 in the afternoon over at the Nelson. They'll have signs that direct you where to go there. And of course, no trip to the Nelson is complete without a selfie in front of the famous shuttlecocks there as well.
Absolutely. And I was going to say too, you know, if you want to keep it going, being cost effective, you could have a nice little picnic on the lawn at the Nelson.
Beautiful. That's a wonderful idea. And hopefully, if you do it maybe early, you can do like a brunch or something before it gets in the super heat of the day.
That's true.
Now, speaking of time, we are almost out of time, so we got one more event left here for Bill's Weekend Picks. This one's happening over in Leavenworth, so you can go up and see Greg Bennett's old stomping grounds. But they have the 39th annual Car and Bike Show coming up this weekend. That'll be at Ray Miller Park. That's the park right by the VA there off of K7. And there's going to be great, some great cars to see there, plus lots of food trucks, vendors, T-shirts, door prizes. And they're going to have a NASCAR pace car from Kansas Speedway that's going to be there as well. There is still time if you want to enter your own car. You can up to Friday. Check out their event listing on Facebook. They have information on how you can do that. They're staked out at one of the restaurants up there in Leavenworth, but there's just a lot of cool cars on display there as well. And they have like annual cruises on Friday nights and stuff where people go ride around town and everything and have a great time as well.
That sounds like a lot of fun. And talking about putting vehicles on display, you know, we always see your truck on the city cam, so you might as well just take it up there so everybody can see for themselves.
Everybody's got a farm truck like I do up in Leavenworth County, so I don't think it's going to stand out all that much. But you never know. So
it's Bill Hurlbrink's truck.
It's Bill Hurlbrink's truck. That's right. Leave it alone. Don't touch. Put the gold rope around it. No. Well, that's all the time we have. Sorry, Leavenworth, the car cruise and the bike show is on Saturday. So if you wanted to do the cruising and stuff, I believe that happens on Friday, and then the show itself is on Saturday. Get out early in the morning. They do have a date to postpone in case there's rain on Saturday. They'll move it to Sunday.
Nice.
But that is happening Saturday up in Leavenworth there at Ray Miller
much
Park.
to do.
So that's just a handful of several things that are happening around town. Of course, there's always great lists online. Usually Google will have a line. Facebook Events has great things to do. Visit KC has a great list of things you can check out to do. And our friends over at the Pitch always have a great weekend calendar that they have got set up as well. That's kind of some of the different places I go to kind of pull some of these events from. But yeah, lots to do starting tonight all the way through Sunday here in Kansas City. Get yourself out and do something fun.
Yep, a little something for everybody. That's what I like.
All right. And of course, if we can introduce or if we can let people know about your event here, love to do that for Bill's Weekend Picks as well. Again, it's something we do every single Thursday here at 10:30. Just go to KCTV5.com, find my bio, click on my page gently, and that will send me an email, and you can let me know all about your event, and we can feature it here on Bill's Weekend Picks. So again, for Taylor Johnson, I'm Bill Hurlbrink. I'll see you here shortly on KCTV5 News at noon, and you'll see Taylor back here in just a little bit.
Yes, you will.
KCTV5 Plus. Take care.
That is one of America's oldest jingles for Oscar Mayer Wiener. And today, the iconic Wienermobile is hauling buns throughout the metro until Monday, bringing big smiles, bun-believable fun, and all the Wiener whistles your heart desires. Today, we are joined by Relish, Raina Sinclair, and Tailgate Trey O'Shea. I want to thank you both for joining me here at the live desk. And you know what? Raina, welcome back home, because you're actually from Kansas City. How does it feel to be back home?
I am just one lucky dog that I get to come back to the great city of Kansas City, and it's just going to be buns of fun. I'm so excited to see some familiar faces, some familiar places, and it's just great.
I love it. You know, I have so many questions because I have already asked you. I mean, you guys are going to be here for some time, for a few days, starting today. Where do you guys park the Wienermobile?
Well, we are constantly traveling 365 days a year. So we live at hotels, so we just park it at hotels. And when we book our hotels, this is like the first question we ask is, hey, can you park a 27-foot long hot dog in your parking lot? And usually they're very accommodating, so yeah.
And Trey, just how many questions do you all receive? How many people maybe honk at you on the road? What is that process like?
Yeah, so that's the best part of the job, is just the reaction that you get from everybody. Like Raina was saying, it's not every day you see a 27-foot long hot dog on wheels. So the smiles and the waves and just the overall excitement that you bring everywhere you go is so gratifying, and it's easily the best part of the job.
And I do want to bring our viewers in. Let's take a step back, because you guys just signed on to the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile process back in June. So tell us a little bit more about how it all works and how you became Relish, Raina Sinclair, and Tailgate Trey O'Shea. How did that all come about?
Yeah, so the hot dogger applications usually open up around January, and anyone can be a hot dogger. You just got to have that appetite for adventure, love meeting new people, and, you know, if you're passionate about some bacon and bologna on the side, that is always a plus. But yeah, I kind of just sent in a cover letter and resume with the dream, and they kept calling us back. They flew us out to Chicago to the Kraft Heinz offices, and we did some interviews. And then a week later, I got the call saying I'm going to be a part of Class 38 Hot Doggers.
Okay, so how long are you guys going to be hot doggers? So you started in June. How long does it go until?
Yeah, we'll go all the way until next June. So it'll be 1 full year.
How has it been so far for you, Trey?
Oh my gosh, it has been a dream come true. Just being able to do something that brings so much joy to people and that's so much fun, getting to see so much of the country, has honestly been such a wonderful experience. And I'm so lucky that I get to do it for another significant amount of months here. So
I love it. So then you guys are in Kansas City right now. We're going to touch on the events that you guys are hosting here in a moment, but where do you head to next? Where can people find the Wienermobile?
Our next stop is Lexington, Kentucky. But if you want to seek out the Wienermobile, you just go to the Oscar Mayer website, and there should be a little tab on the top that's called Where My Dog's At. And you can just look up Kansas City and see all of our events that will be in the area. And yeah, it's pretty easy.
I love Where My Dog's At. I think that is adorable. Okay, so being inside of the Wienermobile, what has been your favorite part? I mean, when you first stepped foot inside of that mobile, what were you like shocked to find, or what was it?
Yeah, I think the coolest part about the Wienermobile is that as soon as you step in, it's really kind of an immersive experience. Like, everything is custom on the inside as it is on the outside. So it kind of keeps that magic when you see the Wienermobile. Stepping in, you have that same exact feeling. The skies are blue on the top, all the seats are custom, there's a rivet of mustard right when you step in. So stepping into it for the first time really just keeps that awesome feeling up.
And you see those photos there talking about the awesome feeling and the Wiener whistles, which I just got one here myself. So I played the song, the Oscar Mayer Wiener song, right at the beginning of this. Is that something that you guys grew up on? And it's kind of like, oh my gosh, like the fact that I am doing this, I am a hot dogger up until next June. This is just a pinch me moment.
Oh yeah, definitely. I remember like always around like 4th of July when you're at that classic barbecue and you know you got some Oscar Mayer wieners on the grill. All me and my friends were singing the tune, And it is just, this job is just so special.
Yeah.
The opportunity to travel to new cities every week and meet a lot of new people. Everyone just has such a unique experience and relationship to the Wienermobile. So hearing all of those just awesome stories about what joy the Wienermobile brings to them is just unbeatable. Yeah.
I love it. And so I guess for both of you, what piece of advice would you give the next class of hot doggers? What would you tell them here in this moment as they prepare to send in their cover letters and their applications?
Yeah, as stereotypical as it might sound, just be yourself, because ultimately that's who you're going to be on the road. Really dig into that appetite for adventure, we say, and just be excited about what you're doing.
Yeah, and if you want to go the extra mile, you can even submit a video or a collage of photos. I personally made a music video where I bragged about how good I am at parallel parking and how I am a ketchup connoisseur, if you will. And that was not asked of me, but I just really wanted this job and I really wanted to show them how excited I was for this opportunity. So I just showed up to my first interview with a flash drive and I was like, I think you need to watch this. Yeah.
Raina, I wish you would have told me this when we've been talking all week, because I would have had you send me that video so that we could play it. A music video to show parallel parking and just how much you love ketchup. I love that. All right. Well, I want to thank you both for joining me here at the live desk. And I want to give our viewers just a better look as to where you all will be. So today, August 7th, the Wienermobile will be at Scott's Kitchen Collaboration. That's right here in Kansas City, Missouri. And then moving along on August 8th, you can see those locations here on your screen in Lee Summit. And then also August 9th, Kansas City, Missouri, the World War I Memorial. And then August 10th, it all concludes. You can see that here on your screen as well, Belton Hy-Vee in Belton, Missouri. You can find that information, as of course, on the Oscar Mayer Wiener website, as well as KCTV5.com. But again, Raina and Trey, I want to thank you both.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having us.
Keep it Oscar.
A decade after exoneration, a Kansas man is now rebuilding his legacy. I'm Janae Hancock here at the Live Desk with Zach Summers. Hey there, Zach. How's it going?
Good.
And welcome into another edition of Behind the Story, this time rooted in justice. Okay, Zach, so introduce us to Floyd Bledsoe.
Yeah, so I was introduced to Floyd by Angie Racono, who used to work here, and she did a lot of stories about Floyd back after he was convicted of murder, and then after 16 years was exonerated. So she did a lot of stories surrounding the exoneration, and she told me about a new endeavor that Floyd was taking on that involved the public, and I thought, well, this is a great time to check back in with him 10 years after he was exonerated, and his story, inspiring.
Yeah, and it really speaks for itself, so we are going to listen in now.
This girl right here started all this.
As Floyd Bledsoe pets his young daughter's pony, he's reminded of his own childhood, a time when life was simpler and his connection to nature ran deep.
When I was a kid, we lived on a 160-acre farm.
Land the 49-year-old worked on into his early adult years, a place where his bond with animals took root and gave him a sense of peace.
You get to see that newness of life, and that represents a lot of life.
But that love, the tranquility, it wouldn't last.
That peace was shattered in 2000 when Floyd was convicted of killing his 14-year-old sister-in-law, a murder the then 23-year-old knew he never committed.
When they read the verdict, it was so devastating, so heartbreaking. It just broke me.
In November 1999, Camille Arfman was found shot to death under a pile of trash just north of Oskaloosa, Kansas. Floyd was sentenced to life in prison for the murder.
And you sit there and you hope that one day somebody will see the truth and will stand up for justice.
For 16 years, he waited, never losing hope, grounded in his innocence.
Ultimately, my faith and the people that truly believed in me carried me through.
On December 8th, 2015, Floyd was exonerated. DNA evidence pointed to his brother Tom as the real killer, who ultimately confessed before taking his own life.
Floyd's case is one of those that you look at and you immediately wonder how this conviction came to be. That's the day he walked out.
Trisha Roja Bushnell is the former executive director of the Midwest Innocence Project. She was part of Floyd's legal team.
It had those sort of known flaws of a wrongful conviction that we look at when you get this almost tunnel vision and looking the other direction and ignoring the original powerful evidence.
According to the National Registry of Exonerations, 147 people were cleared of crimes in 2024 alone. The leading causes: official misconduct, false accusations, and ineffective counsel. All were present in Floyd's case.
In the case of Floyd, it's really incredible to see someone have the opportunity and ability to become the person that they would always be.
Those are my miniature cows.
A man getting back to his roots.
This guy is a Holstein calf.
In June, Floyd celebrated 10 years of freedom with the official ribbon cutting of the Bledsoe Serenity Homestead, a 40-acre farm in Hutchinson, Kansas, where families can interact with animals, fish, and garden.
Kids can come out and, be a kid, touch farm animals, play in the dirt, without worries, giving people an opportunity to make memories.
Memories he also shares with his 3 little children, one of whom inspired Floyd to open the farm to the public.
Watch my kids ride their ponies, there's nothing greater. And to know that it's a legacy that I get to pass on.
Legacy rooted in justice, family, and healing.
I've truly been blessed.
Zach Summers, KCTV5 News.
Zach, I want to first start off by saying such an amazing story. You did so well telling his story. But I have so many questions.
Yeah.
He was obviously exonerated, Floyd was, but what evidence did they have to lock him up for 16 years?
Well, if you talk to Trisha, who was a part of the legal team that helped get Floyd exonerated, she talks about how investigators had tunnel vision. They focused in on Floyd and they found things that led to a jury convicting him. Now, whether it was manufactured or not, I won't go into that, but Tricia will tell you that the evidence pointed to Tom, Floyd's brother, but they ignored that evidence because they zeroed in on Floyd.
And so, as far as his brother is concerned, who we're seeing here on our screen, or we were seeing, I mean, is there any resentment there? Is there kind of how was he feeling towards his brother, even though he's no longer living?
Yeah, I asked him that. I go, like, are you upset with him? Do you dislike him? Like, how do you feel about him? And he told me there is no resentment. He is mostly broken by the fact that 2 lives were lost, Camille and then his brother, who ultimately took his life after it was revealed that he was in fact the perpetrator. And Tom even admitted to the fact. Right. So for 16 years he allowed his brother to sit in jail knowing that he's the one who did it. And when faced with the truth, he admitted it, leaving the admission behind in suicide notes that he left for his parents. But for Floyd, he's just heartbroken that Camille was killed, but then his brother took his own life too.
Yeah, I almost wonder, what would he say to him in this moment if his brother were still alive? So did he walk you through, I know you saw the video of him walking out of jail, but did he walk you through just what he was feeling in that moment?
Yeah, I think he was just overwhelmed. And, when I was doing some research on Floyd and his release, one of the first things that he said when asked by a reporter what he was looking forward to most was he was looking forward to just being free, but also he said milking a cow again. And that's sort of why we took this theme here of giving the backstory, because he grew up on a farm. That's what he knows. And it was interesting that when he was released, that's the first thing that he said he wanted to go milk a cow, because that's what he knows. And now to see him opening this homestead to the public where they can, touch animals, be with nature, and really get to enjoy what he loved so much as a young person, I think that was what really caught my attention and why I wanted to tell this story the way
you started it and the way you ended it. I mean, it's really a symbol of healing. And you touched on his children as well and how his daughter's pony really kind of started it all. But I just love that it goes back to the sense of freedom and having his children and the community feel that sense of freedom here today. I want to touch on this. In 2024, 147 people were cleared of crimes nationwide. I mean, did he also touch on what needs to be done within the justice system to make sure that people don't?
He actually does criminal justice. He's an advocate. He's testified several times at the State House regarding prisoners' rights and things like that. And he's actually working on a case, I want to say it's out of Jefferson County, where he's working with a law firm on trying to get a prisoner currently in jail who they believe is wrongly accused. He's working with that legal team to try to get that inmate exonerated. So he's still doing the work.
And I love to see that, especially from people who have been in that situation. And so they want to make sure that other people are able to clear their names. So in having that conversation with Floyd, what really stood out to you emotionally, especially as you went through the scripting process and editing process as well?
Yeah, well, again, I really wanted to hone in on his humble beginnings, if you will, and how this tragedy just uprooted his whole life, he had a whole family when all of this happened. He was just 23, when he went in and, got out at 39, that's his whole young adult life.
It's taken from him,
and it was taken from him. And what I appreciated with talking with him is again, it goes back to like he's not resentful. You know, it's part of his story, but it's not who he is. And he's done a really great job of like rebuilding his life, because, you know, it would be so easy to just become jaded and defeated and like not care about anything. But he is just like such a humble, kind man, and it was really nice to see that, you know, even though he was handed a really unfortunate situation, he hasn't let it define him.
Yeah, and he is moving forward. I love that, and passing along his story to others to inspire them and to help them as well. Okay, Zach, when is this story airing?
It's going to air tonight at 10 o'clock, but you can always watch it online, KCTV5.com.
And of course, all of the things that weren't included in the story you can also catch on this, or in this web story, I should say, on KCTV5.com. Zach Summers, I want to thank you so much for joining me here at the live desk for Behind the Story.
Thank you.
Welcome back into the live desk. Janae Hancock here behind this video. Welcome into another edition of Voices of the Newsroom right here at KCTV5. This is your opportunity to learn more about the anchors, reporters, and meteorologists, the voices of our newsroom, every other Thursday at 11:30 on KCTV5+. And today I am joined by Sports Director Marlia Campbell. Hey there, Marlia.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me. Excited to be here.
You know, it was perfect timing because I kept telling people I have to have Marlia on before before the Chiefs season really gets
Yeah.
underway.
Things start really picking up for us here.
Yeah, have to get the sports people in. And I'm so excited to talk to you because I don't think a lot of people know you're from this area. So
Yeah.
tell us a little bit more about your upbringing. Where exactly are you from?
Yeah, I'm from Lenexa on the Kansas side. So I went to Shawnee Mission West for high school.
Okay.
And I remember my sister brought home her high school newspapers when I was in like 5th grade. And I was obsessed with them and was like, I want to go into journalism in 5th grade. And ended up becoming the editor-in-chief of that paper when I was in high school and just fell in love with journalism from an early age. I also played basketball growing up, so I ended up getting a D1 scholarship to the University of Wyoming and played on a full ride there for 4 years. There's me and my mom and dad at my senior night.
Who are the sweetest parents
Yeah, they're the
ever.
best. Yeah, you met them. Yeah, they're the best. And they're 2 of my teammates. They both went on to play pro basketball. But so yeah, played 4 years there, got my undergraduate degree in journalism, my master's in communication, and then kicked off a TV career. But yeah, it really all started with those school newspapers here in Lenexa,
5th grade.
Kansas. Yep, yeah.
So I really want to dive into your journey before you made your way to KCTV5. Where exactly did you start as far as television stations are concerned?
Yeah, so I, out of college, accepted a job doing like marketing for a company that sells the chairs that dentists sit in.
Oh my God, Marlia.
Did you know that? Yeah, so I was doing that and obviously didn't align with my goals of going into journalism. So that was Monday through Friday. I did this for like 2 months and I figured, I saw a job opening for a part-time weekend producer job in Topeka at the CBS station there, and I figured, well, that's, you know, a way to get into writing a little bit. And instead, my now eventual boss there, John Janes, who just retired after 50 years, asked me if I wanted a reporter job and to send him my reel, which is like a highlight reel of all of your on-air work.
Right, yeah.
And I didn't have one because I had no plans on going into television. And he said, well, come on down for an interview anyway. So I did, and ended up leaving with a job offer. And I found out in hindsight that he ended up watching my post-game press conferences from college basketball and was like, yep, she can talk on camera. I had the, you know, on paper resume of my undergrad, master's, and internships in the Kansas City area and that kind of thing. So yeah, started as a reporter in Topeka, got promoted to sports director there, and then came over here in news, and then made the switch to sports, and eventually climbed to here.
You know, I just sat down with Mark Paulos, and we were chatting about the same exact thing. You came up, and I said, you know, you both started in news here at KCTV5 and then made your way into sports, and now you are the sports director, which I know is a huge accomplishment for you. So the same question I asked him, I'm going to ask you. What really made you fall in love with sports? Was it basketball?
Yeah, it was probably basketball from a young age. You know, it's kind of what I was good at when I was a kid, and I fell in love with it from, I mean, I was doing it as my primary sport probably from 4th or 5th grade, and again, like went to play D1 and just always loved it. And then growing up in Kansas City, I mean, it's just an incredible sports town. Like, we are so lucky.
Especially now,
Yeah, so my dad there and my mom are big Royals fans and Chiefs fans, so one of my first like life memories is on Sundays they let kids like run the bases at Kauffman Stadium. And that's literally one of the first memories I have. So and there's Neil Jones and I at Kauffman or at Arrowhead Stadium at what looks like a very cold day. So yeah, now I've gotten to cover the Super Bowl. You're looking at there. National championships. There I am with Pasquatch.
And I want to touch
Kauffman Stadium.
Just randomly there.
Yeah,
with
but it's just been a dream career. But yeah, sports from a young age. We're playing basketball, and then you know my dad and my parents being really into the teams here.
And it's brought you some huge accomplishments. So I do want to go back to that photo with Pasquatch. What has been the most memorable?
Not that one.
Yeah,
right.
that's no, right. We don't want to get it confused. But what has been the most memorable experience during your time here at KCTV?
Yeah, probably the picture you saw prior to this one. That was covering the Super Bowl in Las Vegas, which is wild to say. I've covered 2 now. Well, greetings from Allegiant Stadium. The New Orleans one, both of those were such fun weeks. They're so busy. There's such this cool like team effort of everyone's working these crazy hours, and you're in a new city you really haven't been to that much, and you're trying to get all these stories and all this content for our viewers back here in Kansas City. So they were both a blast. Las Vegas has my heart a little bit more, of course, because I was celebrating in red and gold confetti and not green and silver confetti. But yeah, those, as far as like memories go, that one was really cool. There was another one of covering the 2022 KU National Championship.
Right,
My
yeah.
dad was a KU grad, so that was a surreal moment too. So
Mhm.
those are kind of the like big moments,
The pinch
big
me moments,
yeah, the
yeah.
pinch me moments, exactly.
The
yeah.
fact that you were there. Okay, and then as far as stories are concerned, what has been the most memorable that you just absolutely fell in love with and will never forget?
Yeah, so I have two.
Okay.
One was with a young girl named Brinley. I did the story maybe 2 summers ago, and she, oh yeah, it's this one. Yeah, she had a, you're prepared. She had a, suffered a flesh-eating bacteria in her leg. There she is as a little kid, and ended up having to get her leg amputated. And I caught up with her after she came back from that injury with her prosthetic and hit her first, not only home run, but her first grand slam in a game. And it was really, really cool.
I was thinking like it was just like gonna go to the fence. I mean, pretty big hit, but not a grand slam.
Brinley is an incredible person, interview. I mean, she offered like really profound life advice that I think a lot of people listening can take
Just
something
look at
from.
that, yeah.
Yeah, and her mom was incredible, and she's just awesome. And the advocacy work now she does now with Variety KC and all these different organizations is really cool. So that one was nominated for my first Emmy. So that one was really special, and just getting to share Brinley's story and keeping in touch with her and her mom, you know, over the years and seeing her at events and stuff has been
And her
really
journey.
special.
Yeah, no, I love that. The stories that definitely make an impact, shining a light on these people. And so you do have a second story that you also fell in love with.
Yeah, a little more lighthearted. That was a picture you saw earlier of me and that, which is the Pasquatch. If you watch Royals games, you know that when Vinny Pasquantino gets on base, that guy walks in the outfield. And so if you watch him, if you're at the games, you see him. If you're watching it on TV, they always cut to him. He's just kind of like this fixture at Kauffman Stadium now. And I one day was just like, okay, Vinny gets on base, you know, a couple times a game, maybe. Like, what does he do the other, you know, literal, I do the math here coming up, days that he is just waiting for Vinny to get, there's the math I'm doing. I think it's like 8 days and like some odd hours or something, because there's 81 home games a season, right? And Vinny gets on play like 300 times. So yeah, we found out what he did, and it was just kind of a goofy story. It was a lot of fun. It was ridiculously hard to actually get to where he goes. It's not often the KCTV5 sports team goes Bigfoot hunting, but, well, we made an exception. All right. The problem? It's not as easy to get to him as you may think. First, you must climb a 15-foot metal ladder. Then you turn a corner and climb another. Not done yet, climb down one more, and you've made it to the den of the beast. It was just fun watching the game through, you know, he watches it through like this little
There it
maybe
is, yeah.
1-inch gap in the doors, and does it 81 games a year. Most committed guy in the clubhouse.
And you
for
know,
sure.
when I asked you what your favorite story is, I was hoping that you
It'd be
said
this
this
one.
one. Because,
There's
and
the
you
ladder,
see
by the
it,
way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I loved this story.
Oh,
It was
thank
so
you.
interesting. It's something that you don't really think about.
Yeah.
But the fact that you put this in the spotlight, and also another thing, I love that you have a lighthearted story that's your favorite, and then you have a sentimental story about that young girl who went through so much in her life. So really, really memorable stories here, Marlia.
Thank you. Yeah, I think just storytelling has a lot of like power and utility to everyone. Like the Brinley story, I took a lot away from it. You know, I had a really bad shoulder surgery a long time ago,
Yeah.
and her injury was far worse, but it just puts things into perspective, and hearing this young girl who has gone through so much to be able to stay so positive and to use what happened to her, which was awful, and make it into something, you know, good and positive. I think like no matter what, you know, you talk about my favorite moments, and I point to the Super Bowl. It's probably talking with Brinley too. You know, like it can go from the literal Super Bowl to talking to a 13-year-old softball player.
Right.
And then the Pasquatch story is just kind of fun because, you know, even when I told my parents I was doing that story, they're like, well, what does he do? And I'm like, I don't know. That's why we're about to find out. Yeah, exactly.
No,
So,
I do want to
some
go
fun
back to
stuff.
your injury as well. Do you feel like that helps you better connect with the people that you were interviewing, I should say, that have had severe injuries like yours?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when Vinny Pasquantino underwent a shoulder surgery last year, you know, it gives you a little something to kind of talk about and break the ice in the locker room and stuff. But I mean, if you play sports long enough, you'll go through something like that. So it's definitely, and I think just playing basketball in general in college kind of, you know, breaks down a gap a little bit between athletes and myself and coaches.
Yeah, no, for sure. Okay, Marlia, so you grew up in this area. So what would you tell your younger self in this moment, taking into consideration where you are now in your career? What would you tell that young Marlia today?
Yeah, I've often thought about, like, I never had the dream to go on television, not because I didn't want to, but because it did not even cross my mind. Like, it just didn't feel like a possibility. I always just thought I would write. So I grew up watching Channel 5 and actually Neil Jones. So it's kind of fun, you know, he loves hearing that I was a young kid watching Neil Jones on TV.
Well, this has to go into the books as one of the greatest moments in the long history of Missouri football.
2 words to describe this game: instant classic. I mean, it's more than a dream come true, again, because I never set the bar this high for myself. And I grew up, again, watching Channel 5 and thinking everyone on 5 was like the coolest person ever. And we are. But so it's just been really cool to come full circle and be in my parents' living room just because they happen to have CBS on and watching me. And it's been a cool way to connect with, like, you know, the people in this community that I know and grew up with, and hearing from people I haven't heard from a long time. But also just being able to, like, I know what sports mean to Kansas City because I know what they mean to me and how deeply woven they were into the fabric of, like, my upbringing. So it's nice to be able to be kind of a vessel to bring some of that magic, you know, to Kansas City.
I think that's awesome for several reasons, but definitely because Mark said the same exact thing about working with Neil. And just, I grew up watching this man on television, and now I'm working with him, and he's such a great guy.
Have you done one of these with Neil yet?
I have, you know, and he was a hoot.
He has so
was
many
one of the
stories
first
to
ones. Definitely check out that interview if you haven't already. Okay, Marlia, we're going to start something really fast, or this is the very first time that we have done it, but we're going to do a fast round with you for Voices of the Newsroom. So you have to answer these questions quickly, okay? So if you had a theme song every time you walked into the newsroom, what would it be? Putting you on the spot.
I'm embarrassed that the only one that comes to mind is Celebrate. You know that song? You think I'd have a better one? Thanks. Yeah, Celebrate Good Times.
Okay. Yes, I see confetti and everything.
I'm the first one to do this? Okay, I'm fascinated here. You're asking the same questions to other people, right?
I might switch it up. Okay. What's your go-to snack or drink during a long shift? And we know you always have long shifts because, you know, sports.
Coffee. I drink probably like 5 cups of coffee a day. Snack, I have some Swedish fish in my desk right now, and I'll always have, like, popcorn in my car.
What kind of popcorn?
Like kettle corn.
Yeah, that's same
so
way.
Good.
Okay.
Yeah, just something a little snack on. Yeah.
Okay, one final question for you. Who would you want to play you in a movie about your newsroom life?
About my newsroom life?
Yes, what celebrity?
Oh my gosh, that's actually, like, really hard. Maybe Jennifer Lawrence. Just 'cause she's tall
I can
and
see
has
that.
brown hair. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I can see
I
that,
think she has brown hair.
Marlena.
She used to. Yeah.
That is perfect.
Okay.
Alrighty, so you just passed the first round, a fast round for Voices of the Newsroom. Marley, I want to thank you so much for joining me here at the live
thanks
desk.
for having me.
And actually, you're the very first person on this video, so it works out perfectly. Voices of the Newsroom. This is where we get to shine a light on the talent here at KCTV5. You can tune in every other Thursday at 11:30 right here on KCTV5 Plus, and we'll meet you right back here on August 21st.